Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Dan the Navy Man and welcome to my channel. I'm so glad that you guys are here. Today, we're doing another very exciting book review, and that is going to be another C.S. Lewis book. Yes, we're getting back into that C.S. Lewis collection that I said that we would finish, and we will, slowly but surely. So far, we've done Miracles by C.S. Lewis. We've done The Great Divorce by C.S. Lewis. And we've also done A Grief Observed by C.S. Lewis. And today, we're going to be getting into The Four Loves by C.S. Lewis. An absolutely fantastic and short book. Now, a lot of these books within this collection that he has are actually pretty quick reads. But I will say, they are dense. They are packed full of just sentences that punch you in the face, and it has been an absolute pleasure to be able to dive into these books with you. Here's a fun fact for you. Several of the books that C.S. Lewis has written started out as a radio broadcast that he kind of cleaned up and finalized into a book. One thing that's sad is that not all of the radio broadcasts have survived. A reason being is because during World War II, for the war effort, they had to recycle some of the tapes because of the raw materials to use for the war effort. So not all of his broadcasts survived, but happily enough, the broadcasts for The Four Loves are still in existence, and you can find them on the internet and listen to them for yourself. Okay, so let's dive right on into the book, The Four Loves. In the English language, there's only one word for love. That's love. Isn't that so great? It means that you like something an awful lot, or at least that's the extremely dumbed down, simplistic form that we tend to use nowadays. Because people will love their mother and they'll love Oreos. I mean, I do love Oreos, they're very tasty. But in the Hebrew language, there's 4 words for love, so it gets more specific, and you find each form of love in a different area in your life. There's storge, which is affection, familial love. There's philia, which is love between friends. There's Eros, which is romantic love. And then there's Agape, which if you ever have been to church before, you've ever heard that term, that is perfect love, godly love, Christian love. Love that gives but doesn't need anything in return. It's free love. I'm going to love you, not because of anything you can do for me. It is the essence of love. But within this book, C.S. Lewis just calls it affection, friendship, eros, and charity. So this is a fairly thin book, but the amount of impactful sentences makes this a very dense book. There's the 4 chapters about the 4 loves, with 2 chapters, an introduction and another chapter to kind of preface the rest of the book. The first 3 loves are referred to as natural loves. They're loves that we experience on this earth on a regular basis. We experience love from our family, affection. We experience love from friends, and we experience romantic love. And then agape is set apart as more of a perfect love, a love that we rarely can experience or achieve, a love set apart that is God love, Christian love. It's the love that we aspire to. So let's touch briefly on the 3 natural loves. So storge is affection, familial love. C.S. Lewis says it's the love that we most closely share with the beasts, because you can see, a dog who just had a litter of puppies taking care of her puppies and feeding her puppies and being there and defending for her puppies. It is a very basic love. Even bad parents show storge. They still, for the most part, will take care of their children and do things for their children. Later on in the book, C.S. Lewis goes into about how each love requires agape to be truly fulfilled and to be truly lived out. That each of the 3 natural loves are more tainted versions of themselves without agape. Trying to love perfectly is like a baby's first attempt at walking. It's very shaky, very flawed, and we definitely need agape, pure, unadulterated love, to show us how to properly love one another. So the second natural love is philia, and this is actually where I found the most excitement in reading. Philia talks a lot about friendship, and the one thing that really snapped the light on for me was that he was kind of talking about how this love has somewhat died in today's society. He talks about how true philia, true friendship love, is a much deeper form of friendship than you would normally find today. In fact, he says that most people live their whole lives without it. Most friends that people have today are people with shared interests. They go to the same workplace, they go to the same school, they go to the same gym, they voted for the same person or live in the same neighborhood. We have things that are similar and we are acquaintances. But that friendship is very shallow compared to what philia really should be. And it makes me very sad to think about that, because I can compare that to relationships that I have in my life and think, wow, I do really get where he's coming from. And I've often thought that I wish that friendships could be deeper and richer. I've often thought about how I wish there was more depth to friendships, but seeing it come out on the pages out of C.S. Lewis's own pen was very striking to me. It really just resonated with me. It has definitely made me want to deepen and enrichen the friendships that I already have. The third natural love is Eros. And in this chapter, this is the chapter that I felt was the most negative. And I don't just mean that it was bad or I didn't appreciate it, but it seemed as if in this chapter, C.S. Lewis mostly focused on how this love could be tainted, how Eros could be made an idol. Not necessarily the person you're in love with could become an idol, but loving itself, the feeling that you get. C.S. Lewis goes on in great detail about all the ways that romantic love could be tainted. Please don't think that C.S. Lewis doesn't appreciate romantic love. C.S. Lewis was married and passionately in love with a woman who later died of cancer. He was only married for a short while, unfortunately. So C.S. Lewis definitely does appreciate romantic love, but he was able to see how Eros is most easily tainted and turned into an idol. And he was specific to say that not the person that you're loving, but love itself, the need to love. And he talked about different ways in which people go on and live this throughout their lives. Whether they're jumping from one person to another, seeking this fantasized version of romance that will never exist, or simply just trying to find it in the one person and doing everything they can to create this false romance. So I talked about the three natural loves, and I brought up that they all require agape. Now I'm going to try my best, and he really goes on a deep dive into agape and why it's necessary and how agape affects us and how only by experiencing agape can we give agape. I'm going to try my best to give you just a little bit of what C.S. Lewis was able to give me. So the reason that it's so hard to purely love somebody with storge or with philia or with Eros is because those are all relationships of reciprocity. We all give to receive, and sometimes we need more than they can give, or sometimes they need more than we can give. But agape gives to give. It is endless. The well never dries up. It is a perfect love that in the Christian worldview only comes from God. And C.S. Lewis explains that only by experiencing agape, by realizing that we're not perfect, that we're flawed people, and yet God just showers us with love over and over again, endlessly, can we be grateful for that and realize that we should turn around and give that to others freely in our very imperfect way. So only by experiencing agape and realizing that we need to love people without asking for anything in return can we fulfill the three natural loves. Because a mother that wants to perfectly love her child has to forgive her child's flaws. A friend who wants to perfectly love another friend has to forgive whenever they're stabbed in the back or whenever some conflict comes up. They need to be able to give, and when they don't receive back, they need to look past that and continue to give. When it comes to Eros, if you've ever actually truly been in love, and not just the 1-year honeymoon phase, but have pushed past that, You know that the person that you're married to, the person that you love, has bad days. They have times where they're down, they're in a bad mood. It's like the change of the weather sometimes. Our human love dictates that when they stop loving us, when they're in a bad mood, we stop giving to them. But agape dictates that we love past the flaws. We love past the bad mood. Even if that were to be months or years or decades, we keep the love flowing in their direction even when we're not receiving. I would say that agape is the most highly sought after love, but the least given love. It's the love that we wish that everybody would always forgive us, that they would always look past our flaws, that they would always charitably give to us. They would give us charity in their love. It would be freely given without any expectations. They just keep the love flowing. But it is so hard whenever it comes to be our turn to be the person giving the love past somebody's flaws, through the backstabbing, through the betrayal, through the temper tantrums, through the grumpiness and anger. It's so much easier to receive than it is to give. But it's so much better to give than it is to receive. It's kind of funny. In the Four Loves, C.S. Lewis really does have a scientific way of breaking down the loves. It is very intricate, very precise, and very beautifully done. There are so many sentences that pack a powerful punch, and that is why I love reading these C.S. Lewis books, and that's why I keep doing it, and that's why I love sharing what I'm enjoying about these books with you. When it comes to talking about love, one thing that gives C.S. Lewis an advantage is that he loves the ancient myths. He loves the medieval poetry. He has read all the ancient literature and all the love stories and all the poetry. And so he has seen love through the ages. He's able to bring that to the table and explain how different time periods thought about love and why he differs with the way that they thought. He brings up different theologians and their experience of love and their expression of love and what they think it means to love in a certain way. And he'll differ with them in certain ways. And it's just that vast bank of knowledge that he brings to the table that I have yet to find in any other book. And I'll tell you what, I've read a lot of Christian books. I've read a lot of theology, and very few people can deliver the way that C.S. Lewis delivers. And in the book, The Four Loves, he certainly delivers. Thank you guys so much for being here for this video. It is always a great time to talk about any C.S. Lewis book. The Four Loves is an absolutely great book. I wanted to put this plug in here. There is a YouTube channel called CSLewisDoodles. I'm going to put a link down below. They actually have C.S. Lewis's radio broadcasts with an animated video that goes along with the radio broadcast for each of the Four Loves. I was able to listen to the radio broadcast while I was driving from Pennsylvania to Virginia. It encouraged me and inspired me to do this video. And so it is absolutely worth a listen, especially if you are a visual learner. Their doodles along with the radio broadcast are absolutely immaculate. And being able to hear C.S. Lewis himself is such a blessing. In the future, I'm going to keep on going with this classic C.S. Lewis literature set. A few books that are coming in the future are going to be The Abolition of Man. Now, I will say this is the one I'm most excited for because I think that this is the book that society needs to hear about more than any other C.S. Lewis book. Another is The Problem of Pain. And then a few other books that I don't have on me right now because I'm in the middle of moving across the country are going to be The Screwtape Letters, Mere Christianity, and that just might sum up the entire set. So it's going to be exciting. I'm going to get reading. I'm going to be listening to podcasts about C.S. Lewis so I can get those fun tidbits of information. And I'll see you guys next time. If you like this channel, if you like what's going on and you want to be a part of it, join the community and hit that subscribe button. If you had a good time watching this video, if you learned anything, please give me that like. If you have suggestions about any kind of video that you want to see me do, please put it in the comments. I greatly appreciate your guys' comments. I don't care if they're positive. I don't care if they're negative. If you just want to tell me that I look funny, go ahead, put it in the comments. Thank you so much for being here, guys. I'm so glad to be doing this with you all. I hope that you guys have an absolutely fantastical, wonderful day. Have a great day, guys.